Okay. Hello, everybody there?
Yes, Professor, we here.
All right, all right, all right. So let's begin. Like I said, I'm going to make it short. I don't want to take up all your evening. I'm going to provide you an illustration of what we are going to do today. It's very simple. It's an extension of what we began last week. I posted a video of it. Very simple. I also believe I posted PowerPoint slides to illustrate the points. Okay. Now, yesterday, not yesterday, last week, we talked about sensitivity analysis. Okay. We talked about sensitivity analysis. We talked about break even, which is very, very simple. So today, we are going to talk about an extension of sensitivity analysis, or in a way, we would, talk about another way of looking at risk in capital budgeting. Okay. Now, sensitivity analysis essentially varies one, changes one value driver, as we call them, at a time. For example, you vary unit variable cost and see how that affects the value drivers. You can vary the projected fixed costs. You can vary the price. You can vary quantity. But when we the next step is what we call scenario analysis. Okay. And so scenario analysis, again, you can develop different scenarios. You can develop, any number of scenarios. You can develop a base case and worst possible case. You can develop a base case, which is based on your estimation of what, a point estimate, so to speak, of, say, the level of activity and also the conditions in that will face you in a capital budget proposition. So you can look at the basic estimate and say, we anticipate that we're going to be able to sell 1,000 units at $10 per unit. Okay, and it will cost us $5 per unit to produce. Okay, you can do that. Now that's your base. We'll call it the base case, B-A-S-E, base. Then you can think about what could possibly go wrong. Okay, or we may well be more lucky than we thought. And so now we have here three possible scenarios. Okay, the worst possible that could happen, the best possible that could happen. But you can have 10 different scenarios looking at the worst possible that could happen to the base, the basic estimate, and then several scenarios in between. And then you can have the base and then several scenarios, optimistic scenarios in between until the best possible that could happen. You can do that. But today we're going to look at just the basic concept, and we're going to look at, three possibilities: the base, the worst possible scenario, and the best possible scenario. If there's a recession, there could be a mild recession, there could be a deep recession, then there could be mild growth, there could be rapid growth. We can have, like here now, 5 scenarios. So 2 on the left and 2 on the right. But today we're just going to look at 3. And the whole idea is to illustrate essentially the concept. Okay. And I'm going to use your homework assignment to illustrate that point. And of course, I will post the PowerPoint slides that talk about these scenarios. But my illustration is intended to essentially help you understand what's in the PowerPoint slides. So I'm not going to go through the PowerPoint slides. When you go through the PowerPoint slides, you will see that my illustration this evening essentially will help you to understand what the PowerPoint slides are saying, and you'll be able to do the homework assignment. I'm going to pull up a copy of the assignment or something that looks like it, okay? So I'm going to share screen. All right, so this is what your assignment looks like. I mean, I think that's exactly the assignment, but I'm going to do a part of it. So as to illustrate for you essentially what we're talking about when we talk about scenario analysis, okay? And once we go past scenario analysis today, then next week we will go into other aspects of corporate financial analysis. And so this is what it is. So here is a company called Brinkeria. They want to introduce a new line of some product, okay? And this product will sell for $100 each, okay? And the basic estimate is that they will sell 100,000 units per year. Now, what if things don't go as well? Suppose they misestimate. Suppose that there's a recession, and now they're going to sell only 50,000, or they're going to sell only 80,000, okay? And or what if things are better that eventually become better than what they think? Now, the difference between scenario analysis and sensitivity analysis is that in sensitivity analysis, you change one variable at a time and see how that particular change is going to affect the entire operation. Now, in scenario analysis, you change several variables at a time, okay? You take the sales, you change and say, okay, let's say sales go below what we think or what we thought, and also the expected unit cost of production goes up, and the expected sales price goes down. So you are changing several variables at a time in one direction, okay? So for example, here we have the base case, okay? Our basic estimate, what we thought things will look like. And then you look at the worst case. So you can see in the worst case scenario, the sales are lower than what you anticipate. The sales price is lower than what you anticipated. The variable cost per unit goes down. Increases. So the cost of production goes up. You expected to sell the machine at 600,000, but now what if we're able to sell the machine at only 450,000? So you have the worst case scenario. And between the worst case, which is on the left side, and the base case, which is at the center, you can have variations of this worst case, so to speak. You can have situations or scenarios, different scenarios, maybe 2 or 3 more between the worst and the base. So you're coming up and say, what if, all right? And so you can go gradual. And of course, that leads to simulation, all right? All right, so this is the problem we're going to solve. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now just take this. I'm going to begin on the base case and then show you how to go from the base to the worst and how to go from the worst to the best. All right. And so I have these numbers, and I'm going to post this example after this lecture so that you can see the basis of what I'm talking about. And I'm going to include here a cost of capital because I did not include it in this problem. So let's say cost of capital is 11.875%. Okay, that is 0.11875. That is the cost of capital. Okay, that's what we're going to use, K. And so cost of capital will be 11 point, right? All right, so that's what we're going to use. All right. So let me pull up the spreadsheet. Okay, I'm going to stop share on that. Then I'm going to bring up a spreadsheet. This is the right one. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet. You can see it's blank. Okay, the equipment is MACRS 5. Okay, this is a 6-year project. Okay, so incidentally, the MACRS is coincidental. And you see the rates of depreciation on MACRS. I've simplified them. 20%, 32%. This is supposed to be 19.2%. This is supposed to be 11.5, and that is supposed to be 11.5, and this is supposed to be 5.8. So I just like made it simple. We're going to use simple numbers. It's not going to change the results significantly. This one here is the sum of all the percentages. And so it's for verification to make sure that you depreciate the asset 100%, all right? During the MACRS period, MACRS 5 has 6 depreciation years, and MACRS 3 has 4 depreciation years, so forth and so on. All right, so the base investment is $9.7 million, which is here. And additional working capital will be needed of about $300,000, which you expect to liquidate at the end of the project and recover your working capital. Now, you know, it's possible that you don't recover the working capital. It's possible that you do not recover, you know, working capital includes inventory, accounts receivable, and what have you. Okay. It's possible that the inventory will be smaller than this, and you may not be able to recover all the inventory on the project. The product would have been obsolete that you're selling, or new products would have come out, competitors, and so you sort of like liquidate them at less than value. But let's assume that we're going to liquidate the additional working capital at full value. As usual, we're trying to estimate the cash flow under the base condition. That is the base condition. Okay, we're going to estimate the net present value under the base condition. Okay, these are the years. The 0 year is the investment year, and these other years are the years of the project. It could have been a 7 or 8 or 9 year project on MACRS 5. That's not a critical point at this point. And so we calculate revenues. Okay, the revenue is the sales price per unit times the number of units sold. So this is the sales price, and that is number of units sold. Okay. Okay. So here we go. The sales price per unit is in H6, and the number of units sold is in H7, and so this will be equals H6 MX7. All right. And so we drag this through, and lo and behold, we have $10 million. Our expenses will be the unit cost, the variable cost per unit, times the variable cost per unit times the number of units produced. So that will be H5 times H7. That will be a negative value, minus equals minus H5, so H7. Okay, so take it down there. All right, fixed expenses will be 1259 according to the problem. Okay, plus minus 1259. All right, as fixed expenses. All right, and so the depreciation is MACRS 5. Okay, that will be equals H4 times $G $10. Okay, and so you can see the first year's depreciation is different from the second year's depreciation because you have 32% in the second year, and in the third year you have 19%. You can see it's different. In the fourth year you have 12%. In the fifth year you have 11%, and in the sixth year you have 6%. All right. All right. So this is the net income before tax. Net income before tax, of course, is the revenue minus the expenses. Okay. And you can H12 through H15. Okay. And so, all right. And so you have tax. Tax is 33%. Let's see, 0.33. Right. And so now you pay your tax, so you have your net income. Okay. Net income is net income after tax is the net income before tax, and as tax, so you have net income after tax. And so you pull it through. And then you add back depreciation. Okay. Depreciation is in location H15 right here. So you add that back. Okay. And you drag that one through. Okay. So now you have to add back inventory. Okay. That's the working capital. Okay. And so V equals minus G11. Okay. And you add back the residual value of the machine. Okay. Which is given. All right. So your cash flow, because here the investment is your basic cash flow, and the net cash flow will be the sum of all these numbers. So from net income, depreciation, and that. Okay, and you can drag that down. Okay, and so now the present value for each of them, you know how to calculate the net present value, which is, and I'm going to take that off. Net present value would be to take each of these, the cash flow, and divide it by the $8, okay, divided by, this is H22, the net cash flow, divided here by 1 plus 11875 to the power H$8. Okay, so you have your cost of capital, and the location is 8. And of course, you move from H to I to J. So okay, and you can drag that along. And so this is the net present value, which is the sum of all these values, because you subtract the initial capital investment and you add all the cash flows. And so the net present value is positive. So in that case, we accept the project. Okay, net present value is positive. And let us see if we can make a difference. All right, so that is the net present value. Now, what you do then is, to make it easy for you to do the homework assignment, you can take this, what you have here, you copy it, and paste it there. I'm going to take that out first. I'm going to do this again. Copy it and paste it there. Okay, but you can see that what it did is to essentially copy the same numbers. That is not what you're supposed to do. Now, once you paste this here, what you need to do is to go and then change this to, say, worst case. The worst case scenario. So worst case scenario means you're going to change the unit variable cost to something different, and the sale price to the worst case, and the sales units to the worst case. And also over here, you make the necessary changes. Okay, you make the necessary changes there. And so for the purposes of this class, when I post this to you, I'm going to delete all these numbers here. Okay, you're going to change all of this. All right. So now it's for you to recreate what you have there, and you can just come in and leave it the way it is, because the formulas are there. Formulas are there. You don't have to redo the formulas. You can just leave it the way and come in here and change these values to the worst case scenario. And then you change the sales price per unit to the worst case scenario. Then you change the sales per unit to the worst case scenario. You don't have to do anything more, and all these numbers will change. And then you do the best case scenario. And if you have scenarios in between the worst and the base, and between the base and the best, you also just change those numbers. But the thing about scenario analysis is that all the values, the value drivers are changed simultaneously, okay, in the direction of the scenario. If it's about a worse, a less than base scenario, if it's a worse than the base scenario, then you can have, different levels of worst cases and different levels of good to best cases, okay? So you can go from bad to worst, okay? You can go from better to best, okay? So this is what we're talking about. So does anybody have any questions? Hello? Do I still have my friends there?
I understood it, Professor, the way you did it.
Okay, fine and good. So essentially, this is what scenario analysis is, and this is what your homework assignment is going to look like. So you can now use this to go and do the homework assignments. All right. So the absence of any further questions, I believe we understood what we were doing. I will just end the lecture and wish you all a nice evening.
Thank you, Professor.
All right. Have a good
You're gonna
night.
post this, right? When you gonna post this?
I'm gonna post this no later than tomorrow before noon.
Okay, got it.
Okay. I might have time to post it tonight, but what happens is when I go on YouTube, you can never be sure how slow or how quickly it's posted. So I just I go and record it on YouTube, and I just go about my business. I wake up in the morning, I see it, I post it. Or if I still hang around this evening, and when it's all done, then I will post it.
Got it, Professor.
You should get it before noon tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Have a nice evening, everybody.
You too.